So my custom placemats turned out just so great. I'm so glad that I did this fabric for Thanksgiving, and I can do the other fabric for just an everyday theme. But this, I just really loved the fabric, and I loved how they turned out. Hi Mom! I wanted to show you the placemats I made for the table. They turned out super cute. They're reversible. They've got the insulated lining so that it protects the table. Made a little centerpiece here for a hot pad, or you can put something hot on the table. Just turned out so cute. There's Zoe. Say hi, Mom. Hi, Grandma. They turned out super cute. Let me know what you think. I've been making things since I was 3. Creating is my happy place and my passion. My hope is that you feel inspired as a result of watching my videos and create something incredible. I would love to hear about it by leaving me a comment below and give the thumbs up for other interested viewers.
So for a while now, my husband's been bugging me about making new placemats for our table because the old ones that came off of the other table, we've had a couple of incidents that wasn't good. So this one's too square. This one he doesn't like. So I'm going to be making custom size placemats just for this table. Let me show you how I did it. First you need to make a template. And yes, you can make a template any way you want to. Trader Joe's bags, paper. You lay it on your table, do the curve exactly like the table is. Then what I did was I just folded my pattern in half, folded in 2 quarters. You with me so far? Cut out the center piece. You end up with 1/4 the size of your table. This size is a little bit too big for a placemat, so I reworked it simply by putting the center back. Measure from the center of your table or your template to get your correct angle. Do it on both sides until you whittle it down to the size of the placemat that you want. Then transfer that pattern. You usually make your templates out of mylar, plastic. This is the end result and this is what you want. Play around with the size. This is the size that I've decided on. Size with my plates, a napkin, silverware here, a drink here. So I think that'll be perfect. So you just trace along your pattern, each piece, and the backing. Now since these are going to be placemats, so I've chosen to use an insulated thermal lining for my placemats. This is just to keep the heat off of my wooden table, and I think I like that idea a lot. I did the same pattern, same way, pinned it together, and now I am going to make the binding, and I'm going to make bias binding because I have round edges. Yes, it's going to be awesome. And I still have yet to make the circle. And I have to pick the binding. So I'm off to the store. So I went to the store to find the binding for my placemats. And I found this fabric that will work just great. It's got all the colors in it. It'll match on the back. Perfect. While I was there, I found some more fabric that I just had to have. This. For Thanksgiving, is that beautiful? Look at this. Is this not fabulous? I love the color for Thanksgiving. Had to have it. Oh, I love it.
So I need to whip up 4 more placemats, but it's actually very easy once you have the pattern. So now that I have the template, I can just trace onto my fabric, onto my Insul Bright fabric for the back, and I already have the binding done, so this should be a quick project. So I've washed my fabric. I'm gonna give it a light press. I'm gonna use Mary Ellen's Best Press. I like the one that's scent free. I had issues with the rose scented one. I just kept coughing and coughing. So if you have any type of reaction to scents, you might want to stay away from the scents and go to the scent free. So they're just turning out so great, and I just love this color so much. It's so much fun when you find fabric that you really do like. So I'm in the process of putting the binding on. I've previously made it. I did it on the bias, which I will show you in another video. Open it up. And when this comes around, I'm going to have to join it, like right here. So I'm going to move down just a little bit before I start sewing. And I'm going to sew right on that crease line till I get to the bottom. Whatever your seam is, let's measure it. That is where you're going to stop sewing. I'm coming upon another corner. I'm going to sew to right here. Drop my needle. Turn my project, and I'm going to sew completely off. And I don't clip my threads at this point. I use them just to try to get it going. I lay it back over itself and then keep going, and I just kind of use the threads to pull. And when you fold the binding over itself for the corner, it should line up right on this side. So it just lays right on top. Now this has got a curve to it, but that's okay. My binding was done on the bias, so it just will curve right around, no problem. So I'm coming around, and now I need to join these 2 pieces of binding. So I'm going to go ahead and take it out of my machine from underneath my foot, and it's all I've got to know is my seam allowance. How much I need to cut beyond my bottom binding. You want it longer. So if the binding, my first binding is here, I just want to add that exact amount. So make sure that it's flat, make that it's flush. So it's going to be right here. You can mark it in a variety of ways. I just sometimes just take a pen to my fabric to mark it. I'm going to cut it right across. You need some room to join these. You can put a pin if you're comfortable. Just winging it. Just lay it right together, right sides together, and put that seam in. Right it back under, and away you go. I go ahead and open my seam. Now I've been kind of playing around with my settings on my machine to see exactly how my top stitching will be. This is a good time to just kind of practice, because you know that it's going to go through the exact same fabrics, and sometimes the thicknesses makes a difference. So when you're all done, they fold over just like that. Now you have the option of either sewing it by hand, which a lot of the bindings I do on my quilts. And I'm just not super happy with that, so I'm going to switch machines to do my top stitching. I bought this Singer. It's a Singer Start. Very, very basic machine for my travel machine, because I go to sew at different places, and I wanted something super light. Yeah, it is definitely super light, and I am so happy with this machine. I love the way it sews. I love its stitches. It's very basic, and that's all I wanted. I didn't want a lot of fancy stitches. If I was to choose between the machines for the basic stitches, if I was going to buy a machine for the first time, I would buy a Singer. I just love it. I really do. So I am just kind of making sure that my top stitching is the way I like it. I'm trying a variety of stitches. The placement, I started in the middle. So depending on what top stitch you like, I think I like the middle one. And this is why you really kind of need to play around before you do top stitching. And the placement too. I like it over a little bit more towards the end. So let's do this again. So I turned my placemats over so that the top is on front so that I can see exactly where I'm sewing, but I have to be really careful about that. I make sure that the binding is wrapped all the way around and that it covers the seam and that it lays exactly where I want. So I'm just going to keep checking. Just sew it right around. That looks good. So now that you know how easy it is to make custom placemats for any size table, any shape of table. So I made the middle piece so that you could put something in the middle of the table, something hot. Everything has the thermal lining in it so that it's not going to affect the wood table. And it was really an easy project. So I hope you enjoy, and I hope that you make custom placemats for your table.